idea. Like they tried to go for these like crazy engages where like the Annie comes in from the flank, like, and it could have worked. It's just their execution was lacking. Like the Annie either teleported too early, team wasn't in a position, they backed at weird times. So like there was a lot of things that they could have, like they had the right idea. They could have possibly gone for like this like crazy avalanche style, like just rolled through like Prime, but their execution isn't the best, and Prime shows us that they are the professional gaming team against Team Rage Clan's amateur status. So we'll see if they can pull out something maybe crisper.
And Cassidy and Lisa and Lulu and Kale and Braum will be banned this time by Team Rage. So they definitely thought that Braum was a big problem for them in the first set.
Right. Once Braum puts down his ultimate, it's hard to kind of wade through it because it leaves a slow field behind, which so if the Annie went for the kind of the flank engage, all Braum needed to do was just lay down his ultimate, and the rest of Team Rage Clan would have to wade through like a 60%, 70% slow in order to follow up on the engage. So, I mean, it was definitely a problem point for them, but was it their biggest problem? I think it was their kind of coordination was what was more their downfall than anything else.
And Ziggs, now with the LeBlanc nerf, the one-tier mid laner is uncertain at the moment. And there are a lot of champions actually competing for that spot, but Ziggs is definitely a great champion with lots of damage, great lane clear. But is it a first pick worthy champion?
I would say so. Just because once you have the Ziggs, then it opens up a lot of options, right? You have the Ziggs, you have this champion that's great at team fighting, you have a champion that's great at zoning, you have a champion that's great at poking. Ziggs is a very all-around safe pick, in my opinion. His laning phase may be a little bit problematic in that it's hard. Like before you get satchel charge, you're very vulnerable to ganks. So most pros, you'll see most players getting the satchel charge at level 2 just to avoid that level 3 the 2 buff gank from the jungler. So if you can use your satchel charge correctly, it's actually a very safe kind of bet, and it opens up a lot of options. Like your team is falling behind, you can just use the Ziggs to kind of just like stall out the game and get to the point where the goal difference doesn't matter. But what the first pick Ziggs does is it gives the enemy team Jax though.
And the Thresh.
And the Thresh. 2 very strong picks. And they kind of decided that Prime decided to respond with a Morgana and an Elise. So right now the combo that I like is a Morgana and the Ziggs. Because if the Morgana can get a good ultimate in the middle of a cluster team and gets at least maybe a stun off on 2 people, then the Ziggs can follow up with with the Mega Inferno Bomb on those 2 people and probably get a full damage alt right on top of it. Meanwhile, on the other side, you see Team Rage kind of going with a Lucian and a Jarvan. Not super sold on the Jarvan. I maybe would have liked to seen maybe a what would have been better? Definitely not, like Jarvan has great zone, but against this team that Prime is putting together, I don't think it's the best pick. If however Zetjin picks Jinx, might be a little bit worth it. The reason why I say the Jarvan isn't my favorite pick is because like he kind of jumps in, he uses his ultimate, and he's locked himself in with maybe a Morgana or a Ziggs. So I see the idea, but I feel like there could have been a different pick that they could have gone for. Maybe it's a comfort pick.
And Jarvan definitely should be a comfort pick for many junglers, right? Because he has been one of the main junglers for a very long time. So now that Jarvan has been slightly buffed, perhaps junglers are going back to their comfort picks.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We see
and LeBlanc locked in there, so the nerf perhaps not much of a concern for
LeBlanc still has the damage. The problem is that once her silence, now that her silence is gone, people can actually fight back before the full combo comes in. So if Ziggs doesn't actually have a very good way of stopping LeBlanc if LeBlanc kind of gets that first part of her combo off. The only thing you could possibly do is to satchel charge out of there immediately. So we'll see how how LeBlanc does. She definitely does have this the stronger laning phase in that she can bully out the Ziggs, but the Ziggs can kind of try to push the LeBlanc into tower and force LeBlanc to use her distortion to wave clear, which will open up options for old B. So we'll see how they play it out. And yeah, these picks, I would say both teams kind of have a slightly team fight oriented comp. So we'll see if they decide to go at each other. But it's not as bloody as last week. It's not going to be as bloody as last week. Which was,
and we see like the season 2 top lane matchup, right? Jax versus Irelia.
Yep, the classic.
The classic matchup. So Jax versus Irelia, it's a matter of who's going to blow out either their Counter-Strike or their hit and style first, right? Who's going to throw that skill away?
Right.
And nowadays it just seems like, to be honest, Jax is the more favored top laner, but Irelia it has the unseen potential so far, right?
Irelia definitely has more sustain than Jax. With the Dorn's blade change, though, I'm not exactly sure what state Irelia's in. Mainly because the on hit, the 3 life on hit from the Dorn's blade was actually fairly strong with the heat and style. So we'll see how they decide to do it. But moving, I would give the edge towards Irelia in the laning phase. But once Jax hits level 6, then it's definitely going to go more in favor of the Jax, just because he gets the extra source of damage on his auto attacks. So I expect to see maybe like them going fairly even, and if Irelia doesn't pull out ahead, either with like a jungle gank or whatnot, or like even just like a 1v1 outplay, because it's a bit of a skill matchup, but once it hits a certain point, Jax will just kind of take over, like he does every other matchup.
Right.
So
that's the thing, right? Like champions like Jax, who until level 2, 3, it just seems like, oh, this champion isn't capable of doing anything. But once you give a kill away from getting ganked or something, Jax is one of the hardest snowballing champions there is.
It's less about the snowball, in my opinion, and I think it's just the fact that he gets like a almost like a passive source of damage at level 6, right? And the attack speed bonus that is on his passive that he gets from each successive hit only scales upwards and upwards as he levels up. So he gets a lot of free stats as he just keeps leveling. So would you call it snowballing? Yeah, I mean, in a way you could call it a snowball champion, but it's not like he needs a kill to get going. He just needs time. So, yeah, the statistics that we're seeing right now. Anything interesting about this?
Well, nothing really. It's just that so far, I mean, a lot of the matches have been stomped. So far, these records aren't very meaningful. We'll have to see out how the season gets played, because there are a lot of exciting matchups coming up, though, that will be very tightly contested.
Yeah. And, I like the stat. The first stat and the most damage taken in one game.
PA works.
PA works, 38,000, never die logic tech G.
Both top laners.
Yeah, I mean, top laners just get beat on.
Right.
It's just a hard meta for top laners. Still.
It's just a difficult time for hard times for top laners.
Yep. But it's getting better. They don't have to play tanks all the time. They
can play Lulu or something.
Yeah, they can play Jax, which is probably very
a very fun champion to play also.
But I also like the Kale, in that the Kale scales really well as the game goes on, but on top of that has this added utility, right? Kale has the heal, it gives the kind of like the speed boost, then it has the ult, which makes someone immune. So Kale is just like the big middle finger.
The big middle finger.
Against a pick comp. So if you see an enemy team kind of start to build a pick comp, then you just say, hey, we're just going to take pick Kale. What are you going to do now?
Right. I mean, that's why they ban out Kale, right? Because Kale just causes too many variables. It's just, I mean, it's hard to expect what's going to happen if the enemy picks Kale. Right. So you would think that, we got this pick, and suddenly Kale comes in and uses the intervention on him, and while they're on the back feed, it gives the other team time to come back, and it just screws up the game plan a lot of the times.
And it's not that it's just it's hard to predict. The Kale's going to be ready with the giant middle finger, the giant foam finger,
right.
With just just ready to just flip you off
Right.
at a moment's notice. And it's just better to ban it. It's just when something is that annoying, and you just don't want to deal with it, and if you're going for a pick-oriented comp, just get rid of it.
Right.
I think it was a sleeper pick at the time, and people just didn't realize it because of all these strong assassins, just because how overpowered Zed and a couple other assassins were. So once that got rolled back, people just realized Kale is strong.
Right. And now Prime ITENJOY versus Team Rage in second 2 of Group C NLB. And
Team Rage kind of going for a little bit of an invade the way they're posturing right now.
and they are pinging it rapidly. That is the solo queue invade route, though.
Yeah, so they're going to assemble right at that torch,
Ooh.
but will get spotted out by Zetchin. Zetchin only saw Jarvan and Jax, but...
But this could be trouble here.
This could be bad. Oh,
Burning the flash.
Yeah, burning the flash is a huge boon in the laning phase, especially. Oh, and they're going to even take out that ward, so a net win, I would say,
Right.
for Team Rage Clan. So, and yeah, they're just going to continue the invade. They know Jinx's flash is down, so if Jinx comes back and they see her, probably dead
And
Jinx.
ITENJOY must be under immense pressure, actually. They are scared to move out of their inner brushes.
Hollowbong did
They
work
are
the top area, so they'll see if the lane swap is coming
Right.
in or not.
And they are finally spotted, though. But they do not really have the means to check whether they're making an exit, so...
They're assuming correctly that Prime is going for their red buff. So we'll probably just see kind of like a trade here, and now there's no chance of kind of like that 3-buff start we saw earlier in that first game with this kind of trade. So they'll probably just go from red to blue, and then they're both gonna have double buffs.
Right, and it seems like, but this time, maybe a bit of a payback time here. But none of the skills actually landing there, but I guess in
It
terms
was a
of
good chunk of damage.
damage exchange, right.
Because Morgana put down the Dark Pool and then just got all 3 stacks of her Spell Thief's Edge off. So probably worth it. It's a decent amount of damage. However, Lucian will probably just heal it back if they don't do a slight follow-up or put down more harass. They are afraid of the Thresh and the Brush.
Right, and also it does seem like Thresh and Lucian will get to level 2 ahead of time, so they are backing out. Now this is the traditional top lane matchup that we've been talking about, Jax versus Aurelia.
We'll probably see something come in at level 3,
Jax
but
is level 2 though.
Yeah, Jax at level 2 first. A Hollowbone went right in as Jax was hitting 2, so maybe a little bit like faster reaction on his part could have like saved him a little bit of damage,
Now,
but the idea was sound.
Jax actually did not ward the brush right there.
He has to know what's up though. But like at this point, Old B, he may be assuming that Old B could be going for mid just because it was so pushed up. However, he is very aware. You can see that
He is very careful.
He suspects it.
Right.
And with Jarvan kind of still at golems and not really ready to back him up just yet, he's being very conservative.
Very careful. And now the Equilibrium Strike is used by Aurelia, though. And now the Counter-Strike might be blown here, so if they get the focusing right, this could be troublesome. And the Cocoon lands!
Very good Cocoon.
First blood on Aurelia, and now Halabong just has to escape, but it seems like Jarvan will die here too, so ITENJOY getting net gain here this time.
2 for 1.
2 for
and
1.
What Old B needs to do right now is he needs to push that wave into the turret just so he can deny as much experience, because if he had left it the way it was at the end of that gank, then Hollowbone would have gotten denied a lot of experience. However, Hollowbone is coming down mid with teleport, and not much is going to happen. He does blow the flash.
He does blow the flash, so exchanging flash for teleport, not a bad exchange at all.
Right, and Hollowbone still had his flash, so probably what had gone down was Jax had said, hey, Aurelia still has flash. She can still flash Blade Surge, Equilibrium Strike you. And probably he just decided, hey, I'm just going to blow my flash, get out, and just play safe. So.
And Elise actually camping there near the top lane, just in case Aurelia gets too exposed. And now
Jax going straight in
Jax has used this leap. Now the Equilibrium Strike going into Jax. Now perhaps Elise will wait out a little longer, but oh, great gank right there from Old B, and perhaps Moon was a little too overextended again.
He wasn't overextended per se.
I mean, a little too ambitious, I guess.
Right.
A little too zealous.
He didn't have a ward in the tri-brush, so he couldn't really keep track of Old B's movements. However, his flash was still up, which was probably why he was a little more confident that he could kind of move up. Because if he sees Old B coming, oh, I'll just flash out. However, not the case because Aurelia managed to get enough damage down on him, so that all Old B needed to do was just put down more damage. He didn't even need to go for the cocoon. He was probably saving that flash for a cocoon attempt.
And so we talked about how the Aurelia Jax matchup could go either way, and it seems like it is favoring Aurelia right now, but
Old B is investing time into getting that Aurelia stronger than Jax, because Aurelia needs to be able to hold off the Jax split push as the game progresses, and the only way she's going to be able to do that if she can get an item advantage and just keep putting the pressure. However, Old B may be a little caught out here.
Well, actually, Old B is level 6 here, though, so, and the Ethereal Chain's on the Spiderling, so ITENJOY having the lead in almost every aspect of the game so far.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a very good position. Their mid lane and their jungle is a full level ahead of their counterparts, and even more in certain cases. And if we see level 5 on Jax and level 5 on Aurelia, but I think Aurelia has maybe the slight XP lead. We'll see if they mouse over.
Right, I hope they mouse over. Like, this is the problem. Like, please mouse over this thing, and I can't really tell them what to do, right? So.
Well, oh well.
Yeah. What can we do?
But
The solo
B
dragon from Old B, I mean, not surprising, right? She's so high up on levels, and she has the spirit of the ancient golem already.
Yep, and they got the dragon.
They got the dragon.
And they're off to a very good start.
An incredible start, right? The global gold difference actually going to 3,000 gold.
Which is huge at 7
This
minutes.
early on in the
That's
game,
very
right?
good.
Right. So they're 2 BF swords ahead.
Right, and the gold difference mainly you can see is the CS difference. Like even though it's only like maybe 20 CS difference, however, the kill, 2 assists, the 2 kills on Old B plus the 1 assist, that's really what's kind of swinging in that favor along with the earlier dragon. Since the earlier dragon got buffed, it's actually worth it for Old B to kind of go for those moves.
Right. I mean, a point of further concern, I guess, for Team Rage is that they went with standard. But now the death sentence on Morgana. Jarvan is right there behind him, and Kyul is forced to flash away. Now a few more autos. Surely this must be it.
Kill secured.
Kill is secured, but a little too late maybe. Now we've seen Jarvan in the bot lane, so Elise is moving towards the top lane, and that bot lane benefit though will not connect to the dragon.
No, definitely. And they check the dragon, and they're going to be very disappointed.
They will be very disappointed. And now Jax is forced to back away, knowing that Elise is there. So that gain from bot lane is a bit diluted, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. Like the idea was go for the gank. We have the pressure, go for dragon. But what they didn't expect was Old B to go for the solo, kind of dragon. So, good idea. However, I mean, one step ahead. They probably Prime just read them like a book, I would say.
And now they will slowly try to freeze lane here, trying to deny CS as much as possible now. Lucian has double Dorans and a Vampiric Scepter, so whereas Jinx has a Doran's Blade and a BF Sword. So now the bot lane, we could confidently say it's a no contest.
I mean, Jinx does have the BF Sword. However, the thing is, Jinx has to auto-attack, right? He has to keep auto-attacking. If Thresh can get the Death Sentence on, the Lucian can get enough damage out.
Burst, right? And the Soul Shackles actually, and this is the thing, right?
Great try. We'll see if they continue. They'll probably get killed here. However, the problem is
Right, and Jinx, if Jinx is able to proc the passive again, and he does. Now, the culling landing not quite the way they wanted to. Now, Jinx wants to fight with the minions, though, but the heal coming in. Lucian getting the double kill, but from a 3v2 gank, they make a 2x2 exchange, right? 2 for 2 exchange. So
the big part, though, is that Lucian will take the
kills.
level advantage. He'll take the experience advantage here. He got a double kill, puts him kind of straight back into the game. Probably the buy he's going to go for when he gets back.
Oh, Flash Cocoon forcing the flash from Lucian there. So
Flash for flash. So
flash for flash.
very
Exchange the
even trade.
jungler's flash and Elise's flash for an AD carry's flash. I guess that's a benefit of some sort.
Right, but what that does is it's going to set up for another 2v2 trade later on. If the Morgana goes for a Dark Binding, Lucian can't flash out of it. He can't flash to dodge it. All he'll have to do is rely on his relentless pursuit.
Right.
So it's definitely setting up for a further one. However, a bit of a bait here.
Right, a bit of a bait, but Irelia might be too much to handle for the Jax, but not quite. But that was a close shave.
That was very close, and I mean, Sweet roamed up at the right. No, sorry, wrong person. Whoa. Team Rage Clan roamed up, helped out the Jax, and then, I mean, if they can help out the Jax a little bit more and keep denying their Irelia, which is a tall order at this point, because if you look at the item difference, like full 30 CS ahead, Irelia has the Phage and the Sheen. Meanwhile, Jax, all he has is a Bilgewater.
And you see, so they're equal in terms of kill score and equal in terms of turrets, but the global goal difference is actually has widened. So a big point of concern for Team Rage, I guess. And like you said, although Jinx is ahead on items, so to speak, but Lucian, like you've mentioned, has the superior burst.
Right, Lucian will trade much better. What this means, though, with the BF sword is that the Jinx will overcome the necessary kind of pump. So if there's like a more extended fight that's allowed to occur, the Jinx Morgana combo will win it. However, if they go for these short trades, or what I think Korean pros like call it jabs, if they go for jabs, then the Lucian has the edge. He does have enough AD, and he's going for a Blade of the Ruined King first here. So,
and the CS gap actually, well, it was never widened in the bot lane, but in the top lane, now they're putting. It seems like they're. ITENJOY, yeah, they're putting salt on the wound, but they will try to have a skirmish here. The dragon will generate in a minute, though, and this will probably decide the fate of the game. If Team Rage is somehow, like you've said, able to use their superior burst, and Jax's teleport is also on, and if they can hopefully lead that onto the dragon, they might have some way to come back into the game, right? And this is also a window of opportunity right now because Irelia's teleport is down.
Irelia's teleport is down. They're going to try to go for the mid lane. However... Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. And 20 seconds left until the dragon. And Jarvan might be...
That's actually very good timing.
Right.
So yeah, Jax's teleport is up. What earlier I kind of saw was that the ward is still there, and Jax still can teleport in from behind, and they could go for a little more of a favorable kind of fight. However, they need Jarvan to be there as well to really ensure that they win that. They need the 4v2.
Oh, flashing forward, Soul Shackles now landing on both of the Super Megadeth Rocket, surely, and perhaps Jinx can not get the double kill. And now Old B, the kill in the bot lane will definitely lead on to the dragon here, and it seems like actually we've hyped up the incoming dragon team fight, but it seems like not even a team fight is going to happen.
Yeah, it just got nipped in the bud. Old B went for the solo again, and Old B's going for a very tank utility oriented build. I wouldn't be surprised to see him build a little more cooldown reduction at this point, just so he has those cocoons coming out in multiple times in team fights at this point. And yeah, there's a bit of a fight going on here.
And Irelia actually using her ultimate will use her superior sustain, I guess.
Yeah, and he also wanted to back off mainly because he had the cannon minion and a couple caster minions beating on him. So that could have gotten either way, and there's no need to kind of risk a 50-50 trade when you're already ahead.
Right.
And yeah, a bit of a lull in the action. Halabong just zoning out Jax. Mid's being pushed up. They have the towers, so the gold lead is currently 7K.
Now,
14 minutes in.
Right. Now, we talk about Jax being... Oh, but Old B right here. Look at this. Like, using her Sightstone and using the early advantage she got there. Harassed them, right? She's 2 levels ahead of Jarvan. She's the same level of Jax.
Yeah. Not great hit.
Not
He also
great-
has a
oh,
better smite. They
How
just can't fight it.
freely was that red steel?
I mean, he was level 9 to Jarvan 7. There was no way that he could have smite stole that.
Right, and we talk about how Jax is a hard carrying champ, late game champ, but when you're falling this behind, regardless of whoever you are, you're not going to be that effective, right?
Right. And they don't even have the option of stalling out the game because they don't have the Ziggs.
Right.
Like, it's very hard. They don't have the best wave clear. Like all of the wave clear they can really get is like the Lucian's calling, LeBlanc using your distortion, Jarvan maybe throwing out his lance, but that's not the best wave clear. So they're in a bit of a bind, and we'll see if Prime makes some egregious mistakes, but barring that, I would say Prime has this in the bag.
And we always talk about how the W mastering LeBlanc, it sort of made her into a different champion. Maybe she is less pressure to gain early on in the game, but she is 50 CS behind Ziggs. I say that actually almost defeats the purpose of picking a LeBlanc.
Yeah, I mean, you want to kind of bully out the Ziggs, but however, even though LeBlanc has a distortion to kind of, we'll see. No, that goes nowhere. But LeBlanc has a distortion. She can use that to clear waves. However, the Ziggs are just so much better at that. And if the Ziggs can just keep pushing LeBlanc into her turret, it just makes it very, very difficult.
Oh, wow. That
Nothing to say about that.
was it almost certain. Also, the fact that LeBlanc spent too much time in the top lane and not coming up with any sort of benefit.
Well, he got one successful gank off, so which was a good idea.
But
he was
at
kinda
that
getting
time,
pushed away.
Ziggs was farming so free, right, and got
Right.
the lane first.
And I think at that point is they needed top to get back in the game, and the only way they're gonna really do that is if LeBlanc comes up there and kind of gets Jax that kill.
And wow, Morgana dueling with a support Morgana dueling with the
A little
LeBlanc
bit
there.
overconfident.
A bit overconfident, I'd say, but now Prime Olby coming in. Now Elise is just such a scary prospect here.
Now this is just not a favorable fight.
This is
no one's
not.
in position. However, Zetchin, gonna go down. Yeah, I mean Prime maybe overplaying their hand a little bit.
Absolutely.
They're very confident.
Oh my goodness.
That's
brutal.
there's nothing to say about that.
When-
They had a 10K lead.
Right.
They, as I said, barring any egregious mistakes, Prime should take this game.
Very comfortably.
Now we could see a little bit of NA fun kind of coming. here.
NA fun maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping for some NA fun right now.
I mean, we did see a lot of NA fun this week in NALCS with,
Look how
complexity.
confident high level is.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, he can get picked off, but he is pretty beefy right now.
Right.
Yeah, as I was saying, NALCS we saw a couple of pretty interesting games, depending on what you call interesting. Complexity got taken by Cloud9. What was it? Complexity took down Cloud9 again.
I mean, that was we saw that a glimpse of that over the commercials, right?
Yeah, and we also saw Complexity versus Curse, which had the really derpy kind of base race that happened,
Right.
which Curse managed
Was
to
just
get.
the most bronze thing I have seen.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at this game. It's hard to cast games like this. You see, when the top lane CS advantage is almost twice the other. How make this interesting, Barry?
Make this interesting?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we have any trivia games somewhere?
I don't know.
We could start playing trivia games.
Yeah.
I mean, now Prime just kind of slowly kind of grinding out the win. They have a huge gold lead. They have the 10K gold lead. They just need to grind out the win, and they can do that with the Ziggs. And yeah,
Maybe we should just take questions from our viewers.
I mean, we could do that,
Yeah.
but this is also Twitch chat. So how much do you want to interact with Twitch chat?
Well, I mean, OPPA91 asked me, what do you guys think about the League Championship being hosted by both East Asian region and Korea?
Less said about that, the better. I did, however, translate the letter by the KESPA president in response to kind of that whole situation.
Yeah.
And it was published on Paravine. You can go there and you can
You know
see
what's
it.
funny, though? If we didn't know that the World Championships were going to be hosted by Korea, And if the news broke out,
no one would have
now
cared.
at this point, we'll be like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, this is amazing. The
Oh my
finals
god,
are
the
going-
finals is Seoul. This is incredible, unbelievable. Now South Korea is the mecca of esports. But now that you see,
the world is bowing to the Korean
Yeah.
overlords, but and Riot kind of set themselves up for
Right.
that, and then they. I think there was a couple of esports personalities that one particularly called it retconning.
right.
I won't name him here because some people don't like witch hunting. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm not. I can understand why Riot is doing this, and it's understandable. Like SCA, like Southeast.
Like they want to
Asia.
have a big competition, right?
Right. Well, not even that. It's like the Southeast Asian scene is kind of floundering. There's lack of interest in the game. People are kind of like, it's not like there's like a big team that's like TPA, season 2 that kind of like is like dominating the world. There's nothing like that happening. So like it's hard to get as many fans for the
Yeah.
game. And what they need to do, what Riot wants to do is kind of go to Southeast Asia and hey, we're bringing like this big event to your doorstep. Why don't you come watch it? And maybe people will get interested.
Right. I
Follow
mean,
their friends.
yeah, this is the thing. Like I'm disappointed that we're not going to have the whole thing in Korea.
Oh, I'm
Like,
definitely
because,
disappointed
I mean,
too.
this is what I think. I was really looking forward, especially because it seems like CLG is a stronger team. So I was hoping maybe I could see like guys like Doublelift, guys like
Oh yeah.
Froggen or like Alex Each, Diamond Prox.
Well,
those
Alex
kind of
Each is in a challenger team now. So
guys. Oh really?
yeah, he left Gambit a while ago.
Oh, and that team is not good enough to.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's unfortunate. But okay, that was a trick. Oh, you see, that was a throw.
Ouch.
But this is how far ahead Prime ITENJOY is at this
Yeah,
point.
they can just
But-
force.
Okay,
really
but
bad
anyways,
fight
like,
and win.
I'm disappointed, but at the same time, like you've said, I can totally understand why they would do that, and I think it is a decision that actually makes sense. But I do sympathize with how upset the Korean people are.
I mean, like they got set. Like it was a setup for kind of like certain expectations. Like we're doing it.
Right.
Like yes, like Riot said, hey, we were planning this all on from the beginning, and then the Kespa president comes out and says, hey, they didn't let us know until March.
You know what? Honestly speaking, I think the Casper president threw Riot under the bus.
I
Because he
mean-
knew about it since March.
Right. But like no, but there's this thing called non-disclosure agreement.
Right.
So you can't really make announcements what someone else is planning unless
Right.
they say it first.
But he did
right?
make the announcement that the championships are going to be hosted in Korea, though. Like
Before
in
March.
November.
Yeah, but that was before March.
That was
he didn't
before
know
he
that.
knew
Like,
about
he
it.
was,
That
like,
is
he
true.
wasn't like he didn't know.
That
at
is very
point.
true. That is very
So,
true.
like, I think the whole thing was just like Riot and their shitty communication skills, which was kind of like the big
Right.
thing. They love to do this. They're like, oh, we just didn't communicate right. Yeah, like you totally you dropped the ball on that,
Right.
but
But at the same time, it's like I think I do sense a bit of an overreaction from the Korean fans, perhaps.
yeah, it was definitely
Like
an
boycotting
overreaction.
League is just a silly idea to
well.
me. It's just like
I'm very glad that Kespa didn't go for like a blanket carpet, a carpet bomb boycott on it. Like I'm very glad they didn't do that. And what the what the Kespa president said in his letter about, we're gonna take this opportunity to kind of extend Korea's lead in esports across the whole kind of Asian region. And the silver lining, it's definitely a way to do it. And
I mean, also the thing is that regarding esports scene in Korea, there has always been a tension between the gaming company and Kespa, right? Because Blizzard actually lost the publicity battle against Kespa, but towards the end of StarCraft 1, though, like all the shitty things that Kespa has done and stuff, it got exposed. But now Kespa is trying to make a way back. I think part of it is a political power play. Like I can understand that side of the. Oh my God, Jinx is 5 levels ahead of Thresh.
Yep.
Dude, this is
This is why we're talking about this.
right. This is. I mean, and I can sympathize with the disappointment, and I think it was just the worst public relations deal done I've seen so far from Riot. Because I always thought Riot was actually pretty good. Riot Korea at least was pretty good at this public relations business.
Yeah, but Riot Korea didn't really have anything
Anything to do with
over
this,
that.
right? But now it just seems like the thing is though, I think in an ideal world, what would have went down is that the KESPA president wouldn't have spoken about the World Championships, and now we come to June 2014 and Riot announces League of Legends World Championships will happen in Asia, and the finals are gonna be in Seoul.
Well, Riot themselves announced that it was heading to Korea in November.
Right. No, but I mean,
no one should have said anything.
No, dude, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that in an ideal world, no one should have said anything about the World Championships until now.
Right. I mean, it's reasonable that they want to announce this in November because you know people need to make plans.
Right,
if,
create
like,
hype and stuff, right?
Like, well, not even that. It's like Western fans want to go see Worlds in person.
Right.
Then they're gonna have to make plans, and usually it's best to like have all of those plans done a year in advance.
Right.
It's definitely a good idea.
Right.
However, like Riot did this whole wish-washy thing. It's like, oh, we didn't want to disappoint people where if we weren't able to actually do it in Southeast Asia. But then they should have said to KESPA initially, like right when they made the announcement, hey, it is our intention to hold the group stages somewhere else in Korea, and we'll have all the bracket stages in Korea. I think that would have been the best situation. Like, would KESPA have been kind of like, you know, not happy about that? Like, maybe. They maybe would not have been happy about it. So.
I love VEOOV. I know that you're Korean and you're Korean-born, but that doesn't really give you an authority to make a blanket criticism on Korea. If you say that one more time, I will ban you from this channel, okay? You may be upset about a lot of things, but the fact that you're Korean doesn't give you the authority to make a blanket criticism of any country, okay? You cannot say that. Please do not say that, because I don't want to ban you.
At any rate, heavy...
yeah, that was just a bit of a
stuff aside.
All of a sudden, like, that just came at me. But whatever. But going back to what you were saying, though.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think my train of thought derailed. But, like, that heavy stuff aside, I mean, like, you know, there was definitely a fan overreaction. And, oh, well, game over.
I mean...
Well played, Prime.
Well, GG, WP.
Yeah. Let's get a little bit back on track, though. Prime won their game, so they'll be playing the winner of TMT versus, I think,
I mean,
Team Avalanche,
I'll do that. Just talk about